Yeah. Because I don't want that interfering through somehow.
Oh, it won't.
Yeah.
Back there now.
I'm feeling 22. Should we take the bottle of water up there?
I don't think I will turn up any more than this. Somebody carries it out.
Yeah, this is
Yeah, that's what it is. It changes everything. Oh, my God.
No, I'm on the East Coast. That's like, man, if you hear
He does too. If you have all these trouble, he's a man.
Thank you so much. Sorry, I've been very happy.
I wish we knew about the fourth line. We could have done it.
This is about getting the community together. Yeah, they're going to be sharing a mic, and they can pass the mic. They said they can do it all the time.
We've got two lights that people in this room have. And then that's this one.
I think we were going to do 2 and then 1 and then 2. Because they're just asking questions and they're the ones who are debating it.
They should work out wherever you get the idea. And they can use it on the stuff right now. Sometimes they're sitting there.
Okay, great. Thank you again. What was your name again? Michael, I'm Jen. Nice to meet you. I'm sorry?
Yeah, some microphones are in his office.
Okay, I'm going to
pick it up. Red, need it. Press the button and it'll
Okay.
junior moderator.
You know, long necks, ready to be able to sit. Well, I mean, does it get that? That's what, I mean, that's what I think. Good.
How's everything for you?
That's an extra thing.
It's raining.
Where's that one? Is it back in that? Engine 4. Okay, should I just put that up there when it takes 10 minutes?
How it's going to work is I'm going to do an introduction, and Ryan is going to draw me. So if you draw first. Thanks for being here, guys.
Yeah. I got a little toasty up there. Yeah. No, you still working? Yeah, I had to give me deposits and stuff for my job and stuff. I kind of got a big flight today. And this morning when I left, I put on the whatever the defroster on my car, and then today, $8.
Can I move this just so it's not blocking your nose right now?
But it is really nice.
Is there if I just slide it one direction?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, Donna, how are you? Good to see you.
I just want everyone to be able to see.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
Should
that.
have thought of that.
No, we also popped in.
You good? What else do we need?
I was very impressed with that. I can't
Oh my gosh.
130 people. We make some. Yeah, I mean, that's
But you know,
for symmetry's sake.
yeah, so it's less sketch.
Oh, that's symmetry. There it is.
There we go. I'm gonna pick up whichever one there's on the top. Yeah, okay. Hey, this is random. Yeah, okay, well, I'm gonna randomly draw the name of the person. And then this person gets to, and then everyone on the stage, there's these, we start getting this stuff, my cards,
Welcome and thank you for coming to the Greenville City Council debate, sponsored by the Student Government Association. My name is Jenny Betts, and I'm serving as the Student Body Vice President. As students, it is important for us to get involved in the community, and our first step of that is by voting. As students, SGA reached out and invited all candidates for mayor, City Council District 3, so that students can meet the candidates and learn more about local issues. Moderating today's event will be Dr. William Downs, Dean of the Commissariat College of Arts and Sciences, and Ryan Clancy, Editor-in-Chief of the East Carolinian. We ask that Dr. Downs and Mr. Clancy stand to be recognized. If you are here for a Premier Passport event, please note that stamps will not be issued until the very end of the program. We will begin with the platform statements for each candidate for District 3. Both candidates will have up to 10 minutes to introduce themselves and share their platforms. As a reminder, please hold your applause till the end of each 10-minute period. Please be respectful and give a warm welcome to Marion Blackburn and McLean Godley.
We're going to be picking randomly at a random one of these two who will go first to give their 10-minute statement. person who will be speaking first will be McLean Godley.
Well, it's great to be here tonight, guys. My name is McLean Godley. I'm running for District 3, Greenville City Council. It's great to see such a large crowd in here tonight. Not too long ago, I was a member of the SGA myself. I graduated just a year ago back in December, so I know I see a lot of familiar faces that were leaders last year in the SGA and on campus and are still leaders in those same organizations. So congratulations on a great event tonight. I know Carson and Mark, and Jenny, they've all been working extremely hard to put on this event. So congratulations on a great turnout tonight. My name is McLean Godley. I am running for District 3. If you were here during the summertime, then you know that over the past 2 months, Greenville has changed dramatically. Greenville was a town where you could get anywhere in the city in 15 minutes or less. You could get to the mall, you could get to the hospital area, you could get to Dick's Sporting Goods in no time. And now that the students of ECU are back in town, once you hit Greenville Boulevard, you're going to hit traffic. Now, some folks in this town find this newfound traffic to be annoying, but to me, it's exciting. What excites me about this newfound traffic is the rush of energy and a sense of pride that comes back to Greenville that simply have been lacking during the summer months. Now, despite the fact that the students of ECU, the professors, and the campus in general and its community are the lifeblood of what makes Greenville, Greenville, some folks in this town still believe that the only thing that the students of ECU are good for is stimulating the liquid economy. Now, I won't lie to you, the majority of my college paychecks did go to stimulating the Uptown Bar District, but you do know that the students of ECU are so much more than just that. You guys are up late at night studying in Joyner Library to better your futures. You're constantly thinking of new ways to get back to Greenville's community, whether that's through a philanthropy project or a community service project. And tonight, it truly is exciting to see you here being so actively engaged in this process of voting and making sure that your voices are heard. Now, you might be wondering, McLean, what are you actually going to do if you're elected to City Council? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do first. I'm going to start by creating a stronger sense of safety in our neighborhoods while also beginning to implement steps that eradicate crime off our streets once and for all. If you live off campus, then you simply know that there's too much dark real estate in our neighborhoods. This dark real estate allows for criminals to hide in the shadows, waiting to make their move on our fellow citizens late at night. What we must do is we must light up our neighborhoods and begin to extend a blue light security call box system similar to the one that's found on ECU's campus into the neighborhoods that surround ECU, so that when you're studying till 2 a.m. at Joyner and you walk home to 3rd and Library, you don't have to take your earbuds down. You don't have to check your shoulder once you cross 5th Street because of that poor lighting and because that blue light security call box system is gone now. You're going to still have that same sense of safety that you had on campus because there's proper lighting and that has that extra measure of being there with that blue light security call box system. But also, safety doesn't stop there. Well, recently, a few days ago, we saw a horrific tragedy happen just miles down the road from our main campus. A fellow pirate was killed because he was trying to cross 10th Street right around the Copper Beach area. We must begin as a city to invest properly in our sidewalks and also in our crosswalks as well, so that these people who might not have a car or simply just want to walk and enjoy a Sunday afternoon can get from point A to point B safely and effectively. So that's extremely important as well. The second thing we need to do as a city is we need to make Greenville more fun and enjoyable for everyone. Now, I think it's safe to say you're probably having an amazing time at ECU. My 4 years at ECU were some of the most amazing times that I'll have for the rest of my life. But couldn't your time at ECU be a little bit better? Wouldn't it be nice to get your grocery shopping done at a Costco or a Trader Joe's instead of just Food Line? Wouldn't it be nice to take your girlfriend out to a nice local restaurant instead of being forced to take her to Applebee's? And wouldn't it be nice if there were more fun relaxation attractions located right along our Tar River? We have this Tar River that's 8 blocks away from ECU's main campus. It's beautiful, it's fantastic, but there's so few things
for us to enjoy along it. What Greenville must do is we must begin to implement the Tar River Legacy Plan. In this Tar River Legacy Plan, we have great ideas, from zip lines to more parks, extended greenways. But for too long, these ideas have simply been just ideas. If elected, I promise to transform these ideas into a reality. Second thing we need to do to enjoy our Tar River is we must also begin to extend and secure our greenways. I was reading the Daily Reflector, not too long ago, and they had a poll. It said, do you feel safe when you're on the greenway? And 85% of its respondents responded, no. That's a problem right there. We need to ensure that we are securing our greenways as well. The last thing that we must do as a community is we need to bring good paying, dignified jobs to our community so that we can keep people like you when you graduate from this town. I was in a fraternity on campus. I was a member of Pi Kappa Alpha, and I pledged with 31 other guys. And I met some of the most amazing people that I will for the remainder of my life. I will cherish those guys for forever. And just about all of them have moved on from ECU and they've graduated. And I'm the only one who stuck around and who stayed in Greenville. I said, guys, where are you going? You had an amazing time at ECU. You had some of the best. You made some of the most lasting relationships and friendships you ever will for the remainder of your life. And they said, McLean, I couldn't find a good paying job in this town. So I couldn't blame them then, because at the end of the day, you have to put food down on the table for yourself and also be able to pay your bills. But it's a shame on our city for allowing those 30 other guys to leave this community, because those guys are going to become business leaders and city councilmen in whichever community that they so choose. And the way we're going to bring good paying, dignified jobs to our community is by investing in our infrastructure, advocating with legislators in Raleigh to make sure that Greenville receives some of the many economic incentives that Charlotte and Raleigh had been given over the past decade and 2 decades, while also eliminating job-killing regulations. If we do this, we'll create an environment that welcomes businesses of all sizes to our community. Did you know that over the past 2 years, Greenville City Council has taxed and feed our hardworking citizens and our business leaders 12 times? I want you to think about that for a second. 12 tax and fee increases. Can you imagine what a business who's thinking of expanding and relocating into Greenville or Rocky Mount is thinking, or Jacksonville, when they see 12 tax and fees? They're saying, we've seen 12 tax and fees in Greenville over the past 2 years. Imagine what's going to happen in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. So we need, as a community, to ensure that we are doing our best to welcome businesses of all sizes to our community so that good paying, dignified jobs will come to Greenville. So between securing our neighborhoods, making sure Greenville is more fun and enjoyable for everyone, while also bringing good paying, dignified jobs to our community so that Greenville can start building tomorrow's generation today, we've got a lot of work to do. But with your help, my resolve, and aggressive pursuit of business-friendly policies, while also making sure that our community is engaged, we'll get the job done. But we need your help. I'm excited by this turnout from tonight. I'm truly excited to see that the students of ECU and professors and also everyone from the community in here tonight. We need your help. We need you guys to continue to vote, and I'm glad to see that you guys are going to do that. Thank you.
Please welcome Marion Blackburn.
Always have to readjust being so short. All the tall people in the world. Well, I'm Marion Blackburn. I'm delighted to be here. It's been a while since I've been on campus. This is one of the first times I've been back on campus not as a student. I gotta say, I've missed being here, but I haven't missed the reading. I haven't missed the 6:30 to 9:30 classes in Brewster. But it's great to be back, the energy here and the creativity. Thank you guys so much for turning out. And I promise I did all the reading. I graduated in May, got my Master of Public Administration, and I'm very, very glad to have spent time here. And now I'm a pirate too. So I'm Marion Blackburn, and I am your City Council representative. It is an election year, and I would like your vote. And here's why. District 3 is one of our most diverse districts, and I have to say I think it's probably our best district. We have got parks, we've got open spaces, we've got several economic areas which I've supported, but most importantly, we have you. You all are so important to the district. You have energy and creativity and all the ideas and everything that you bring to our community, and specifically to the district. Just recently I was down in the area you may have seen where a lot of work is taking place at 3rd and Jarvis. There's new economic development going there. Christie's, where I've spent many a Saturday afternoon having lunch, one of my favorite places in the district. And there's an expansion getting ready to take place where, an expansion that I've supported, where Tandy is going to actually move. When you've had fun at Christie's and you want to go maybe try some of the beer that you had at Christie's, you can actually go down to her new business, you can sample the beer, and you can get your growler, or you can get your keg, and you can take that home with you. So that's something that's going to be right there in the grid that everybody can enjoy. That's the kind of policy and program that I've worked for, is making sure that the grid is a safe place, making sure that there's lights, making sure that there's fun things to do, like activities, and it's hard to find a bigger supporter of the Greenway than I've been. Good news, the Greenway, soon you're going to be able to go from the town common all the way out to the hospital. So if you want to ride your bike, or if you want to walk, or if you're a runner, you can do that and not have to deal with traffic. And I am hoping that with the bond that is under your consideration, if you will approve the bond, it has a lot of funding for different projects, streets, sidewalks, but greenways are also a part of that, which will take the Greenway east. So let's talk about safety in the grid. One of the things that is very important to me and that I've already been working for is lighting in the grid. You've probably seen those lights that shine, the LEDs that shine straight down. That's very important because that keeps the light down on the streets and out of the skies so that you can feel safer. I've also been investigating and working toward a blue light system that I think was mentioned earlier. Those plans are actually already in place. Those are something that I've already been working on. Because when you're downtown, no matter where you've been, whether you have a group of people with you or whether you're by yourself, you should be able to get home safely. And that's something that's very important. If you're at Christie's, you should be able to walk home. If you're taking a bus, you should be able to feel like you can get to the bus safely. One of the things we've worked on is something called data-driven policing. This is a program that I strongly support. We've got a lot of community policing. That means that you've got officers that are right there in the grid, in focus patrols. And then the data-driven policing means if we've had a series of break-ins in a certain area, we know that, we've charted it out, and that's where the officers are. Another program that we've worked on, when there's breaks, for instance, fall break or Christmas break or Thanksgiving break, we actually have focus patrols so your stuff doesn't get stolen. So these are programs that are already in place to make the grid safer. So let's talk about fun things that we like to do. Someone once said that I was a little bit of a Leslie Knope. I really do love parks. I kind of live and breathe parks. It's kind of one of the reasons I got involved in this. Now, I don't mind doing budgets. I've certainly done a lot of studying budgets, and budgets aren't as exciting as parks. But budgets are really where you make your policy happen. I will not bore you because a lot of you guys probably already have budget classes, and that's not why you're here tonight. But yes, parks and greenways, that really is the lifeblood in many ways of the community. It's really been the lifeblood of what I've done on council. Now you may say, parks? Why is that important? Well, here's why. In many ways, parks and greenways are a focal point for how you can have economic development, an excellent quality of life, jobs, and people that want to stay here. When you graduate, we want you to stay here. So you look at parks, and they're places that make a community a place you want to live, a place you can spend time. They bring cleaner air, clean water, all those kind of benefits, better health. But then we have greenways, and greenways are beautiful places, of course, but they're also places where we have, instead of having traffic, you can get on a greenway and get somewhere. So they're a form of alternative transportation that I've really been supporting. So parks. Any dog lovers here? Anybody got dogs? see a lot of hands. I have 3. Anybody like the dog park? Yes. Love the dog park. Good news, the dog park is going to expand. We need it. So if you enjoy the dog park, one of the things that we have been working on that I've promoted is getting the dog park expanded. So how do these things in turn go back, though, and create those jobs, the jobs with benefits? We are, right now in Greenville, we're poised to become something of a pharmaceutical center for Eastern North Carolina. In Eastern North Carolina, we've got about 9,000 people working in the pharmaceutical industry. A lot of them are right here in Greenville. Those are good paying jobs. If you've done, for instance, chemistry, or which I did maybe one class of, but I know there's some smart people out here that you've done chemistry and chemical analysis and materials engineering. You're going to be able to stay here in Greenville and find a job, maybe in R&D, research and development, because of the expansion taking place at Patheon. We've also got Maine Pharma that has expanded, and Aerogen, which uses, if you're interested in DNA and forensics. So these are businesses that are already here. So going back to parks, when you're trying to attract, maybe you're trying to encourage growth at a place like Patheon, and you want them to invest in the community, you say, we have the infrastructure you need. What does that mean? That means we've got the roads you need, we've got things like utilities, kind of snoozy. If you want to attend a city council meeting sometime and you hear us start to talk about stormwater, that's kind of a snoozy discussion, but it's very important because your infrastructure means that you're able to support businesses that you want to come to your community. So when we have all of those things in place, but we also have the parks and the greenways, that's going to encourage businesses to come here, and hopefully it will encourage you guys to stay here after you graduate. Some other things that are an important part of our community that are important to the grid are the river. And the river was spoken about before, but I think that's one of the things that is very exciting that we're doing right now. We have the Tar River Legacy Plan, which has plans in place for overlooks as well as ways to improve parks that are along the river. One of those includes the dog park. We have plans right now for an overlook at that area, Ash, right beside the dog park. So that will allow you to go out and actually look at the river. So we have lots of plans in place. This gets back to budget. You want to make sure that you have the fiscal ability to do these, and that's where leadership on the city council comes in. One of the things that I've tried to do is be a constant vocal advocate for funding these kinds of programs, and what that means is standing up for them and making sure that they're funded. So I guess in closing, I'll say that I'm a proud alumna, proud to be a pirate, love being back on campus, don't miss the reading, but I do miss the energy, and I do miss the creativity and all the activities that are present on campus. I do love my work on city council. I love this community, and I love the grid. On November 3rd, I would appreciate your vote, and if you have any questions for me, I encourage you to ask me, to contact me, because it really is an honor to work for you, to serve you, my constituents, in such an important part of the district. So thank you very much for being here tonight. Go ahead.
Thank you, McLean and Marion, for taking the time to share your platform. We wish you both the best of luck. Now we're going to shift gears into the mayoral debate. Again, please continue to hold your applause until the very end of the program. This debate will be divided into 3 segments: economic development, public safety and quality of life, and concluding with the relationship between ECU and Greenville. Each 25-minute segment will begin with a lead question asked by our moderators and directed towards each candidate, chosen at random. There will be a 3-minute time limit for each response, followed by an open debate and a series of follow-up questions asked by the moderators. Please welcome to the stage Mayor Alan Thomas, Donna Whitley, and Ernest Reeves.
We're used to it.
Yeah,
We're used to doing the shared
exactly.
microphone.
Oh, yeah, we
We got wheels on this thing. Be
I
careful
know.
now. Might lose it. All right.
So we will now draw randomly for the first question in the economic development segment of this evening's debate. And that goes to Alan Thomas.
So for the first question, each candidate will have 3 minutes to answer the question. And the first question for the economic development segment is the mayor can play an instrumental role in our city's economic development. What is your boldest and most distinctive proposal to ensure Greenville's prosperity over the next 2 years and beyond?
Don't you get an opening statement?
We do
have an
opening
opening
statements.
Well, let me do the opening statement first. Then.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, you get your opening statement, and then you'll come to the question next.
All right, I'm Alan Thomas, and it is good to be home. That's the best way to say it. Some of you may have seen one of my most embarrassing photographs. It's in the SJ office. Let's just say the 90s were a rough era, okay? I was student body president back in 1992 on this campus. And, I can talk about my experiences here because I lived it. I lived in the grid for years. I walked across this campus. I studied here. I got my degree in business here in undergraduate. And I left Greenville for a period of time. But the most awesome thing for me was when I had an opportunity to move back here and raise my family here in Greenville, North Carolina. And it was the greatest thing that we were so excited to get a chance to move back. My wife's also a graduate of East Carolina University in finance, School of Business. And I'm a 46-year-old father of 3. I have a 10-year-old, a 7, and a 3-year-old. And we're all over the city, all in the parks, and stay very busy across this campus. My background, as I mentioned, undergrad at ECU. Received my MBA at UNC Chapel Hill. Calm down. And studied the graduate program at the Harvard School of Government, the JFK School of Government, where I was on scholarship this past year. And it was an incredible experience meeting leaders from all over the world. It really restored, my thought for humanity and kind of where we're going. There's so many smart, sharp people all over this world trying to do good things. I worked for Leo Jenkins' wife, Nancy Jenkins, when I was student body president here back in the day. And we worked on many projects, and it was some of the same concerns that we talk about here. It's about economic development. It's about safety. It's about opportunity across this community. And after that, I went and worked in government for the state of North Carolina in the public and private sector. And I worked for the Department of Commerce in North Carolina, and my job was to recruit businesses and companies to the state of North Carolina. And in that job, I knew what cities were actually in the running when there was real opportunity. I knew what cities were eliminated and why. Those very specifics. And oftentimes, Greenville was not included when it came down to the final list and final opportunity. There were pieces missing here. It was something I always noticed. We weren't ahead on infrastructure. We didn't have a plan for economic development. We weren't proactive in our public safety across our community. And many times, we worked in a disjointed fashion. So when I came back here, I was hired by ECU actually to help bring the heart hospital here. Worked as a consultant for the university, and we were successful in that. And then I served on the Board of Adjustment and was elected chairman of the Planning and Zoning. And then looking around here, seeing that there was an opportunity and we needed to bring safety and there was a shortfall in economics here, I ran for mayor. And with your support, many of on East Carolina, I won that election. And since then, we've been working so hard across campus and across this city. Thank you.
My name is Donna Whitley. I was born and raised here. And as I told Dr. William Downs, I'm going to be buried right down the road from where he lives at the Worthington Cemetery. My children went to public schools and graduated from East Carolina. My husband's a retired firefighter. I bring to the office of mayor a background and experience based on that I am a small real estate investor, a landlord, a homeowner, the authored lecturer of a book on personal finance that was endorsed by the North Carolina Treasurer. So I know the importance of managing your resources. I interned in Washington, D.C. with a senator I worked on the campaign staff of the North Carolina senator, and I was on 2 state boards. Locally, I was on the Public Transportation Commission when we bought buses to Greenville. I co-founded the Higgs Neighborhood Association, one of the first in the city. I organized the PTA presidents to get the sidewalk ordinance passed, and I am a founding member of Women to Women. So why do I want to run for mayor? Because economic development and quality of life go hand in hand. They're a coin and the 2 sides cannot be separated. This is a very exciting concept because for the first time in my memory that we've really put it on the table that quality of life is an important, powerful magnet for attracting quality industry here. The new industry wants to make sure that these highly trained people that they've recruited will want to stay, work, live, and play. And what are these qualities? By the way, Greenville's doing a great job in many ways on the infrastructure, but when it comes down to competing and comparing 2 cities with equal infrastructure, it's going to be the quality of life that breaks the tie. Quality of life is the tiebreaker. So what are we talking about with that? First is traffic. Are your roads safely designed? We have 5 people who have gotten killed this year so far. Does the traffic flow? Are the neighborhoods that are free from crime? Are there sidewalks that connect your residential and your commercial areas? Parks, cultural activities, recreation, medical facilities, and an education for a diverse population. Remember, this is the new model of the 21st century. These are powerful economic magnets that attract high-quality industry that will give us the good-paying jobs that we need. Please vote for me on November 3rd.
Good afternoon. I am so glad to be here with all you all. Y'all look so good. I tell you, I would rather be anywhere else than right here with you all. I tell you, I used to be a college recruiter. I had a recruiting company in Michigan, had an area 85 times the size of Greenville, 15 colleges and 74 high schools. I spent 2 years going to school every single day talking to students just like you all. Now, before I tell you who I am, last year you all left $2.9 billion on the table of Pell Grant money. $94 million of that is right here in North Carolina that some of you all didn't take advantage of. So I need all you all to fill out the free application for federal student aid. You might get some money. And I went to school on a national military scholarship. I spent 20 years in the military. Last year I ran for the United States Senate against Senator Kay Hagan. I ran against Tom Tillis. I got 43,000 votes across the state of North Carolina. I spent 20 years in the military. I spent 9 years enlisted. 2 years in senior ROTC on the National Military Scholarship. I graduated and became a lieutenant. I retired from the Department of Defense, Pentagon. I spent special duty at the White House. I served 2 ambassadors. I was Paul Mermer's personal special military liaison officer. I worked for Ambassador Dale Trent's team. I had an opportunity to live outside the United States for 6.5 years. I commanded my first unit in Japan. I had a Japanese secretary. 1/3 of my unit was Japanese. By trade, I'm a communication electronic officer, and I'm also a certified recruiter with the background in automation. Now, my dad used to work here. He had no education. He put an X on the page, but he could sign his name. But he ended up working for some of the biggest and some of the best businesses here. He worked for United States Senator John East for a very long time. When I was a little boy, I used to go to Senator East's house, cut his grass. I used to cut the grass at BB&T right beside Adams Car Wash. So I'm so glad to be here. My 5 boldest things I want to do. I want to bring the light rail to Greenville, North Carolina to get you into Wilson on to Raleigh. I want to bring overpasses. 2 of them right here on 10th Street so that you don't get hit. I want 1 on 5th Street. I want 1 across from Pitt Community College. I want to bring Wi-Fi to this whole area. I want to remodernize all of the boardwalk to put nice shops. I want to have shops like, Haagen-Dazs ice cream, and shops like, shops like Dunkin' Donuts and others. So y'all have fun time, new theaters, and a new sound of fun here in Greenville for all you all. I love education. He said he went to Harvard. My dad had no education yet. My nephew taught at JFK School of Government. He's a PhD, one of the foremost authorities in politics around the nation. See, it's not where you come from, it's what you do. So I support education. If you'll let me start tomorrow, I will be the best mayor for you. I will come here, and whenever you want me to come and talk to you about what you want to do with your life. And I love East Carolina University. Thank you so much.
Now, first question. First, we'll pick randomly from these names. Oh, there's your
I think I don't know if I won or lost the toss. I guess.
Right.
See how it looks, right?
All right. Would you like me to read the question again?
Sure.
All right. The mayor can play an instrumental role in our state's economic development. What's your boldest, most succinct proposal to ensure Greenville's prosperity over the next 2 years and beyond?
Interesting you say that. When I first ran, I go with the mic's working. Hello? All right. We'll let that go. Give it a shot. I'm plenty loud. I don't need it,
But just in case.
Well, let's just continue. Make good use of our time. It's interesting you say that because the first time when I ran for office,
Here.
what was that?
Try that. Using that.
Test. I think it's down. The grid is down. The grid is down. Again, we're pretty loud, so you probably can hear us, I hope. When I first decided to run for office in 2011, I had not held office in Greenville before. I had mentioned, other than my student body president days, but I worked across the state of North Carolina, actually across the country, recruiting business to North Carolina. And an interesting statement was said. We were at the Covenant Church, which was one of our debate locations earlier in that debate. And my opponent at that time, the standing mayor, that same question was asked. And the standing mayor that night said, the mayor has no impact on economic development. That's for staff to do. That left a very strong impression on me in terms of laying out the difference between what you bring to the office as mayor. I had a young family. And I looked around and I saw a city of Greenville that was going through a severe budget shortfall. I saw crime and disarray in this city. There wasn't good leadership in terms of law enforcement. I saw a downtown that the majority of it was boarded up. It had a late night use but did not have a daytime business use except for UBE. And I thought we could do more and do better in this community. So I relied on my background in economic development and recruiting across the state of North Carolina. And we identified key things we needed to do. The first thing we did is we took a forensic look at the city's budget. If you're going to grow a city, you can't sit back and be regressive and wait for opportunity to come to you. For so long, we had a hospital and a university, but as Rocky Mount and Kinston and many cities can tell you, if you rely progressively on business to come to you, what do you have going forward? So the first thing we did when I won that first election and we promised was leadership. Leadership on crime, growth, and jobs. Time to move this community forward. I made a contract with this community and they all voted in support. First thing we did when we got in office was open the very first Office of Economic Development, if you can believe that. The city of Greenville had never been done before. So we focused on important sectors. Biomedical, pharmaceuticals, many of the sectors you see now that are expanding across the board here with Maine Pharma and with Patheon. And I took a hands-on approach to recruiting business here. When companies came here, unlike my predecessor, I said we need to be hands-on in this. So putting the proper infrastructure in. But the most important thing that we did was try to start working with the students because we need to be able to help you bring your business and stay here. When you graduate, we need to reintroduce you to Greenville and say, we want you to run your business here. We want piratepreneurs, entrepreneurs like I did. I started my company with a fellow ECU grad, and now we're at over 160 hospitals in about 38 states, processing 16 million patient records a day. So bringing that to this city is important. Thank you.
Can you read the question again? Is it me? Do we do like that?
I guess you're right.
Okay.
The mayor can play an instrumental role in our city's economic development. What is your boldest and most distinctive proposal to ensure Greenville's prosperity over the next 2 years and beyond?
Okay. The two parts of that. One, I think it's time that we start focusing on what you call mixed use and better development within the city boundaries. I'm very concerned, and part of this is because I was born here, to see this constant sprawl just moving out. We need to refocus on how to change that, and there are all kinds of evidences of how to do that. I want to make sure that we offer leadership the mayor can offer leadership by talking to the creative developers who are already doing this. I love running for mayor because you can call people and say, I'm running for mayor, I want to talk to you, and they actually call you back. Like John Kane, who developed North Hills, he was one of the people I called, he called me back, we talked about that. The mayor would be a person who would be reaching out and saying, we want you to come here and develop this in the most progressive, dynamic, visionary way, which means multi-use in a more concentrated way, which of course is makes people a little nervous who've been accustomed to the spreading out. So you would be like a bridge to the neighborhood and other parts of the communities that said, this is the future, a more concentrated. Y'all ever go to the Carolina Ale House? You see right there, that's a double. There's a 2-story building that makes a higher tax value there, just like downtown with the super block, same thing. When you concentrate and go up a little, you can still have a charming community, but it's going to increase your tax base. We have to make sure that the Horizon Plan and the City Council supports these ordinances so that we can do that for mixed uses. And the other thing that a mayor can do is reach out to the lending community, the institutional mortgage companies, and encourage them, because they too are not so sure about this sometimes. This is new. I think one of the most dynamic things that's going to happen in the future is the 10th Street connector. There's so much opportunity for economic growth here, and also creating quality of life. I've looked at that. It has some bike lanes. It does have some medians down the middle and trees. This is a very important part. And as citizens, we need to have some kind of symposium where we bring all the players to the table, representatives from all parts of our community, to say what exactly is going to happen here. Because this is going to be a great contribution to our community. We want it to be. We don't want it to be a gummed up mess like Greenville Boulevard and Arlington and Memorial Drive. So those, and always focusing on this quality of issue concern. The research shows, and I want you to go to YouTube and look at Jason Roberts' Building of a Better Block, Jeff Speck's The Walkable City, and I tell you about this because y'all know about TED Talks. And look at the latest that's being done in this.
As I mentioned before, I want to bring light rail to Greenville, North Carolina. During my 20 years of military active duty, I had an opportunity to serve all over the world. I spent 3.5 years at SeaTac International Airport on behalf of the United States government, working with billion-dollar airlines and some of the best hotels and motels and business owners in the world. Later, after I retired, I was recruited by United Airlines, where I worked as a supervisor of airport operations for Chicago O'Hare International Airport. I also worked in Denver International Airport, also San Francisco International Airport. And my very first $100 million aircraft, that, I manage those all the time, all during the day, depending on where you are. But what I noticed about all the places I've been stationed, Seattle, Denver, Chicago, Japan, Korea, the Middle East, well, some places, the Middle East, the transportation grid, Germany. I lived in Germany for 3.5 years. And other than the Middle East, most places always had some type of rail systems. Now, our city is growing. I want to bring light rail. That's the boldest thing I want to do. I want it to go from Ayden, North Carolina to North Pitt, starting out at the new Walmart, and then it's going to make several stops here downtown, and then it's going to go out where the new bypass is going to come in from Ayden. Well, what I want to do is have metro there. People be able to pick up trains there, come back into the city, and then go on. So you all as students, if you want to go to Amtrak and Wilson or go on to Raleigh, you can do that. I'm also, because I worked in management I graduated from the Talented Management Program at the United Airlines. It's a very intensive program. and being a supervisor of airport operations for the ramp and having sometimes billions of dollars worth of aircraft per day that I supervise, I understand management and money. And I would like to work with, I know they bring in some other airlines in here, but I would like to try to get a flight to another bold thing. They want to get a flight from here to Raleigh. Right now it goes into Charlotte. And it's bold. But you asked me what bold things do I want to do. So light rail, getting a flight from here to Raleigh. I want to redevelop the boardwalk. I want shops. I want to take the amphitheater, the Sunday in the park, and enclose it so we can use it year round. I want to have a place where y'all can enjoy. I want to bring a state-of-the-art food court here for you. Like I said, I want to put overpasses over the street. You should not get hit going across. I came here today just to do the ride around and see why I was going to come here tonight. Because last year I took a class here. Hadn't been here in a while. But when I came here, I noticed all the students almost about to get hit going across 10th Street. That should not happen. So I want to get overpasses over 10th Street, at least 2. Like say on 5th Street where they're going across from the hospital over to where the Veterans Center is, so that those students can do right at Pitt Community. Because y'all students, y'all are one of our most prized possessions. And I want y'all to do well. I want you to graduate from here. I want you to stay here. Why don't you be safe? Now, if you look at my website, my main thing here I'm running on is safety. That's crime, poverty, income inequality, and education. And if you'll let me start tomorrow, I would like to say, I would do good by you. I will not let you down.
Thank you very much. So that first question on economic development went to the entire panel. We're going to stay with the theme of economic development, but give some individual questions assigned randomly. The first question goes to Donna Whitley. At every level of politics in our country, voters, especially young voters like those here at East Carolina University, are frustrated by what they perceive to be excessive division, gridlock, and inaction. As mayor of Greenville, how would you overcome a culture of political resistance? How would you build the kind of consensus and trust that will make local government relevant and that will enable our city to focus on being the economic engine for our region that it needs to be?
My entire life in Greenville has been about bringing people to the table who of different backgrounds, with different opinions, to work on projects that will make Greenville a better place. How many minutes do I have for this one? 3? Okay, so I can't get too detailed. But I know this sounds kind of old-fashioned, but the fact of the matter is I have made hundreds of pots of soup in my life and brought people to the table to break bread and work on these issues. Part of it is treating people with respect and goodwill and assuming that we're all here for the greater good. That we're on this commission and we're working here because we want to make Greenville a better place. And to always, I think, first of all, making it very personal like that. And just assuming, bringing people together and saying, we're going to get this done. And when they do something that is like, as I said, the 6-0, when the city council voted 6-0 to present the bond as one comprehensive thing, I think that was something to celebrate and an opportunity for the council to go out into the community and say, this is a project, we all agree on it, let's work on it. And this is one of the things that I disagree with Alan about, that he shouldn't have tried to split out Greenway money from that, and then it went to 4-2, which was kind of confusing for people and not a good feeling. So I would have to depend on my experience of all these years of bringing people together. The Higgs neighborhood, getting people to actually pass that ordinance for the sidewalk. And unfortunately, it was only one sidewalk, one side of the street, but we'll just have to keep working and get the other side of the street. So that would be my strategy.
For the next question, we from Ernest Reeves.
I follow her, right? Okay.
Next question.
Different question.
Different question.
Lightning round.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
These different things.
That's a good question.
As you know, ECU students became a part of Greenville become a part of Greenville for 4 years, and then many move away after graduation. As mayor, how would you make Greenville more attractive to young professionals so that skilled ECU graduates decide to stay in Greenville and become invested in the city's well-being?
Well, one thing that I would like to do, I would like to have a very comprehensive job fair here. And I want to bring in, like right now when students graduate, they leave because, like I say, that there's not a lot of good paying jobs that students think are good paying jobs. So I would like to do a very comprehensive job fair here. I want to bring in all the best companies and stuff. Now, I'm a former recruiting commander. I had a territory that was 7 cities, and like I say, 85 times the size of Greenville. From the borders of Detroit to Flint, Michigan, in 7 different cities and 7 different staff. So I competed against the best job people in the world, and I had the #1 company in the state of Michigan for 1999. Now I'm very aggressive when with recruiting, and I like students. So I will go out there and myself, like New York City has this video. It's done by Jay-Z, and it's called Empire State. They use that same video with New York State to recruit businesses to their state. Now, Alicia Keys, now you know Alicia Keys, she's off the hook, So she does very, very, very well. And I'm gonna tell you, I love Jay-Z too, and I like a lot of music. Although I'm a Christian myself, but I'm gonna tell you. So that video, I would like to do I'm talking about a nice video here for Greenville to attract businesses, to attract job fairs for you all. To let Greenville, we have a great city here. Okay, wherever I go around the world, they know where I'm from, because I tell everybody I'm from Greenville, North Carolina. Also, I just like to say this: I am the 12th child. My mother and father had 12 kids right here in Greenville. My dad worked; he had no education. But like I said, he worked for U.S. Senator John East. Now, when I retired, when I was at Pentagon, I worked for all civilians, all Republicans. And I'm a Democrat. So I know how to bring people together. But I would do my best to bring the best jobs people here. And I want a video like Empire State, like Jay-Z and Alicia Keys. I want to, put it out there. And I want businesses to come here because we have a great city. And I'm telling you, when I ran for U.S. Senate last year, I did server debates at colleges. Matter of fact, sit on the stage with the new U.S. Congresswoman, Alma Adams. She spoke before me. I spoke at UNC at Asheville. I did a debate there. I was the first Democrat for the Senate, U.S. Senate, to debate there. And I told them while I was there. They said, "Where are you from?" I said, "Greenville." He said, "I don't know where Greenville is." I said, East Carolina?" Oh, they all jumped up then. So we need to let everybody know that not only are we the home of the Pirates, but we are Greenville, North Carolina. So if you elect me starting tomorrow, early vote, I will do my best to bring better jobs here for you. I will promote not only you all, but also our city. And like I said, I got about 20 nieces and nephews. I taught 2 of them to get one of my nephews got a master's from here a few years ago. My niece graduated a couple of years ago. And I want you to know, she took a state job in New York, and they told her, "Where did you come from?" They looked at her qualifications and said, "Not only are you qualified, but because you came from ECU, we want to make you a supervisor because of your credential." And so I love this school. I'll bring good jobs here for you, and I'll do my best to be the best mayor.
Thank you very much. The next question goes to Mr. Thomas. Mr. Thomas, as you know, we live in challenging economic times, and there are many very well-trained, high-ability college students who are anxious about what awaits them once they graduate and go out into the job market. At ECU, we produce graduates who care a lot about leadership and public service. We call ourselves the Leadership University. As mayor, what leadership or service opportunities, if any, would you and the city of Greenville offer to college students that might aid in their professional development and their preparation for the job market?
Well, it is a competitive environment out there. There's no doubt about it. And we need to continue to work on the partnership. As I mentioned, I'm a graduate of East Carolina University and School of Business. And one of the things we need to do, which we already have a program within the city called Operation Reentry, where we're working with the U.S. military that are leaving the military. And we're very interested. We've been working with Ted Morris here, from the Innovation Campus, and allowing shadow opportunities not just with the city of Greenville, but also with our industries across eastern North Carolina and this city to keep our best and brightest here. I was one of you. Many times we have individuals who graduate and move on, and how do we keep them here? How do we create that opportunity? One of the things I've been talking with Dennis Massey, who's the superintendent chancellor at Pitt Community College, and also talking with the leadership here on campus. I was on the board of trustees here at ECU as a student. I also served on the board of the board of the alumni board, and also the board of visitors here. And one of the things we're working on is what can we do to create an interface where we can allow you to, if you're a junior or senior, how can we go ahead and welcome you with the amenities that allow you to help you start your small businesses here. To create a future in Greenville, the recruitment of large industry is a thing of the past. There are some large companies, but the innovators for 2020 and 2030 are the ECU graduates who start small companies. We don't want that to happen in Raleigh. We don't want that to happen in New York or other parts of the United States. We want you to do that here. One of the programs that I'm working on currently is to provide you for pro bono, accounting, legal, all the infrastructure elements to allow you to come in and pitch your ideas in our seed program here in the city and allow you not just to start your program here and start an idea, but make it grow. And not just make it grow, but allow you to work seamlessly with fellow ECU graduates, PCC graduates, and people in the region, and actually create a reverse migration where we can allow you to locate here and begin your businesses here. We are already looking in the Dickinson Avenue area to create larger workspaces basically for free, to bring you in, allow you to start your businesses and help it grow. I'm an entrepreneur. I started my business that I mentioned earlier in an extra bedroom with a fellow East Carolina graduate. I know what it takes. I know what it's like to have to meet payroll. And I have the experience. And one of the things that's a definable difference in this whole discussion is for the past decade plus, I have been working on bringing opportunity to this city. I've been working on growing the uptown area, over $150 million in development in that area. It's going to allow us to bring more jobs here. I've started the Office of Economic Development to recruit companies here. Over $450 million in new development in the past 2.5, 3 years. We're growing, but I need you to be a part of that growth. Greenville's average age is 26 years old. Think about that. The average age in North Carolina is 39. We need to accentuate that and continue our growth in the right way.
Thank you very much.
For this final question of the economic development round, each candidate will have a chance to answer this final question. And the question will go first to Donna Williams.
Okay.
The question is, critics suggest that Greenville is a divided city. There tends to be a disproportionate concentration of wealth in some areas of the city, with a disproportionate concentration of poverty in others. Economically speaking, do you agree that there are two Greenvilles, and if so, as mayor, how would you narrow that gap?
It's true that division of wealth is not just in Greenville, North Carolina. That has been happening all over this country for the past 20, 30 years. All of the stats show that the middle class is getting smaller, the rich are getting richer. That's a factual thing, and it's very troublesome for all of us. I want to go back to this, which is my concern and why I'm running for the mayor. In order for us to get high-quality industry to come to Greenville, we are going to have to shift our emphasis some and add to the formula focusing on quality of life issues. That's the only way that we can help this economic separation, is to bring industry that offers a wide range of salary, from a very top CEO to the people who own the line, who do the packaging, the mechanics, the secretaries. And the name of the game in the 21st century is, sure, we expect you to have the infrastructure. And if you don't have a quality of life, we will check you off and move on to, say, Rock Hill, South Carolina, who does. And being in the campaign, I've been going door to door. I went to a very, very fine neighborhood. The houses are 400, 500,000. I talked to this woman. She said, "It's amazing. They just moved here with the med school." And she said, "I feel like I'm trapped in a jewel cage. I've got this beautiful house. I have a sidewalk on one side of the street. It's not even on my side. I've got my children. If I want to go to a park, I cannot put them in a stroller and walk to a park because it isn't a park in this neighborhood." And there are parks in this, small parks. They don't have to be grand, but there are some of the older neighborhoods too that I know that do have parks. What has happened to us that we have forgotten that we want a livable city that's safe and healthy? And she said, if I bike, I can't bike. There's nowhere to go, no safe way to bike or to walk to a commercial area where I'd like to go to lunch with a friend. Everything is bound about getting in a car and going. She is not a happy woman, and I don't know how long she's going to be putting up with that. She may very well say, you know what, to her husband, I've had enough of this. I want to move to another town which has some more quality of life emphasis on it. And that's true for you too. You want to have a job, but you want to have a good job. And I do not believe that good jobs are going to come to Greenville, North Carolina until we start talking about quality of life.
You're absolutely true. There's not just two Greenvilles, there's actually three. There's Main Greenville, there's West Greenville, and then there's north of the river. Now, before we started running for mayor, when I went to the newspaper, I put out my Facebook page, I'm the guy that was talking about poverty and crime and income inequality and education. And everybody in the city knows it. Now, not only that, I'm the one that was talking about the police sticks, because I asked, why is it that we don't have any in West Greenville? We have none north of the river. Now, I like the mayor and I like Miss Whitley here, but I like me better. Now, under the mayor's leadership, and I don't want to say this negatively, but I'm just tell you, Greenville, North Carolina, just a couple of months ago, Wall Street 24/7, which is the standard, USA Today rated Greenville, North Carolina as one of the highest poverty-rated cities in the nation. In addition, there's only 8 cities out of 20,000 municipalities in the United States where the income in divide is greater than it is here. In other words, the poor get poor and the rich get richer. In other words, if my mother has 20 boys and she said, y'all go out and make money, bring home $1,000, you can keep your money, but I got to account for it so I can pay taxes. And she said, okay, Ernest, you made $250, you get over there, and the other 19 go over there. And then she started looking around. Now I took my $250, took my girlfriend out, spent $80. Then I went to the movies, spent another $25. I decided, to go by the bank, drop off another $80, go take my mama some flowers, and just say I done put $80 in the bank and I had $40 left in my pocket. And those 19 of my brothers sitting over there, they only would have been paid $39 a piece. Now, I represented 5%, but I made 25% of the money. That's what's happening right here in Greenville. 4,500 people here of the 89,000, which is 5% of the population, is making 25% of the money. And of those people, there is about 1,800 of them to 2,200 of them that's making $250,000 more. And I like that. Make all the money you can. Listen, I believe in capitalism, I believe in altruism, and I believe in philanthropy. But we want to make it so that not only Main Greenville, but West Greenville and north of the river all come together. Now, I told you I was 12. I'm the 12th child. 9 girls, 3 boys, my mom and dad had. I have over 20-some nieces and nephews. We come together and we all work it out. If you elect me mayor, I grew up in West Greenville. I'll bridge the city. I'll work across the board. I'm not afraid to go to the people and say, let's come to the table. And so I will bridge this city and I will serve as a great mayor. Now, the mayor is going to come back and tell you some other stats, but it speaks for itself. And I like the mayor. But listen, one of the highest poverty rates in the nation, and there's only 8 cities in the United States where the rich make more money than the poor. And they also had an article said that the poor people here will never be rich. And you can go read the articles and I'll give them to you myself.
Thank you. Well, they were a whole lot poorer before I took office. If I could claim credit for a century of abuse and disparity in economy, if I did that in 3 years, I shouldn't be on this stage. Does any of you think I did that in 3 years? I'll tell you what I did the past 3 years. I formed Greenville's first Office of Economic Development. The first time the city of Greenville was ever focused on trying to bring a diverse set of jobs here from different backgrounds across the community. I actually got with PCC and we started education incubators with churches where people can walk, whether they've had a criminal past or not. Go to a church. If you can get 10 people together, I can start you one next week to get you a GED, to get you on a path to go get education, to get you a vocational opportunity. I work with Joyce Jones with Strive. We've taken people straight out of prison and showed them how to dress, how to put a resume together. Many individuals It is not their fault. They did not grow up in a good environment. You got babies raising babies. And they don't know how to work in a functional environment, how to deal with credit, how to put a resume together, how to do the work right and get things done. So what we're doing and what I've done is created a council of nonprofits and those in clergy. And we are doing it. We're not just talking about it. And again, that's a definable difference up here between everyone. All of a sudden I have two candidates which I like and enjoy. But all of a sudden they're passionate in the past 60 days. Where were they 6 months ago? Where were they a year ago? Where were they 2 years ago or 3? I've been out here fighting the fight. Working with the nonprofits in the street. The reason why I've supported in every corner of this city is because I don't just talk about it. I don't talk the talk. I walk the walk. Greenville does have disparity across the community. And we're doing the things to do the basic levels. Help provide child care so a mother can go and get an education. Work with Jermaine McNair and NC Civil so we can take 9, 10, and 11-year-olds who their experience doesn't go beyond a 4-block area. Things that we take for granted every day. Put them with business professionals. That's what we're doing right now across this city. So a young girl or a young boy, that their hero is not just someone who sells drugs or someone who is coming in and out of their life, but someone who went off and worked hard, grew up in a tough environment, and now they're a lawyer. Or now they have a good job and have a good family. It's all about role models. This city has a lot of growth. The list he mentions also has Gainesville, Florida, and Storrs, Connecticut, which the average income is $85,000 per year, and also has College Station's text office. So part of that is an anomaly because we're a university town, and they count against us the fact that we have students that work. But that doesn't take away from the fact that we need to continue to bring jobs. That's why we're diversifying with the Office of Economic Development, including pharmaceutical, biotech, and technology. And the Millennial Campus is going to change this city in the next decade. I'm so excited about it.
Moving on to the next section, which will be public safety and quality of life. The first person to answer will begin.
A random draw. Donna Whitley.
All right, and I will read the first question. Each candidate has the last one will have 3 minutes to answer. The question is, many criminals in Pitt County specifically target students for violent crimes and robberies. What will you do as mayor to promote safety and prevent crime in the areas that surround ECU's campus? In particular, those areas that are predominantly occupied by students, such as the Tar River University neighborhood.
Can you tell me what those stats are? I'm just curious in comparison to the rest of the city.
I'm not sure.
You're not sure. But you're assuming that they're higher than West Greenville? You're not sure. Okay. This is a serious problem all over town, and I was seeing that the burglaries. There was an increase in burglaries, and one of the things that's very concerning for me as a woman, there's an increase in rapes. So, but this is something that I think is something that needs to be looked at all over the city. And when we were in the Hicks neighborhood, exactly what we talked about tonight is lighting. Lighting is very important, and that should be a top priority in making sure that our neighborhoods are well lit. I'm also a great advocate of neighborhood associations, and that people band together block by block so they can identify people who are in their neighborhood who actually don't belong. And this is very, very important. The police cannot do this all by themselves. I think community policing is excellent, and you do need people. I love the program where we have someone who's connected to our neighborhood association, a policeman that we can talk to about our problems and challenges. And I think it's very important that we as citizens understand we have some responsibility in this of analyzing who's in the neighborhood, what's being done, and alerting our contact policemen to do that. And also to use common sense. I know sometimes people don't even lock their doors. They need to be careful about that. and to look out for each other. That is also an important quality, is letting people know when you're going to be gone and helpful for people to look out. The other thing that's interesting about this is the research shows that it's often a very small number of people who are doing most of the crimes. And that's why if you do have a neighborhood association and you can identify these people, a lot of times the people in the neighborhood know who the troublemakers are. They've seen them there before. So it would be a combination of these things. And I think it would be a good idea to check on how the crime rate does compare to West Greenville.
I'm the only candidate up here that has crime as my number one goal for the city of Greenville. The city of Greenville, under the mayor's watch, has a 7 on the scale 1 to 100. Now, we spent $23 million last year on crime for a 7. Now, you all, I love education. I myself went to school in Raleigh. I was a cadet in college. And, run every morning, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. But they have a 7, $23 million, which is a felon grade. Winterville has a 75, ranking the top 5 in the nation. Now, he's going to throw up some stats and tell you these other stats. I'm going to just tell you the real deal. $23 million. So, my goal, make Greenville one of the top 10 safest cities in North Carolina. How do we do that? Well, if you look at my website, I said, look, we need to have neighborhood policing. That's number 1. Number 2, any students that's here, and I'm not trying to go against what your school say, but if you're going to go somewhere at nighttime, you should use a buddy system. When I was in the Army and stationed in different countries, well, we had a buddy system. That means if you're going to go somewhere that's dark, wear lighter clothes than dark ones, because we do have some darker areas. Let somebody know where you're going. When you come in from work, have a buddy say, look, you can just text, look, on the way to work, get back home. Let somebody know, give them at least your phone number, a point of contact, and at least what your license are so they can have it. And then do that kind of system. Plus, as was stated by the councilwoman, we need more lighting here. I'll fight for lighting. Also, if you look at my website, I'm one that I want a citywide security system that's safe. Now, I don't want to violate anybody's Fourth Amendment right. I'm talking about we should have a camera system in the city this big, that's growing. We also should have, not only in main Greenville, but also in West Greenville and other areas, we need to have the police sticks, as I stated earlier. When I was on recruiting duty, I commanded Flint, Michigan, the 3rd worst crime city in the nation. Now, I had the number 1 company in the state of Michigan, and I worked along with some of the violent people and say, listen, we need to have an understanding. Bring all the people to the table. I've worked with some of the worst people in the world. I am myself, like I say, I'm a retired military officer. I've commanded many units. I've served in the Middle East. I've been a sergeant for 6.5 years. I'm not afraid to talk to all the elements, and I will my number 1 goal, and I'm the only person, if you look at my platform, number 1 is safety of not only the city, but you as students. That's what I'll do. I'll do everything I can to make you safe. And listen, that $23 million, as I told it, I spent 2 hours with the Day Reflector. We need to take some of that money. We need to put into the apprenticeship programs. We need to put into safety sticks. We need to put into having programs for young people. And y'all mentioned a question a while ago. If I'm elected, I will have an ECU person as part of my staff. I'm talking about if it's approved by the city council and by the college, so you can be a member of my staff, volunteer, be rotating. So I'm sorry. Thank
you repeat the question, please?
Sure. Many criminals in Pitt County specifically target students for violent crimes and robberies. What will you do as mayor to promote safety and prevent crime in the areas that surround ECU's campus, in particular those areas that are predominantly occupied by students, such as the Tar River University neighborhood?
Well, not just what would we do, but what have we already initiated. 3 years ago, with the support of City Council, working with the City Council, the issue here was rampantly out of control. Many of you that may be seniors this year may remember your freshman year. Burglary was out of control across this city. We had a leadership in law enforcement that was in disarray, and we had an exit with the police chief. We took our entire police command staff to Raleigh to meet with the leaders of the High Point Law Enforcement, Raleigh Law Enforcement, and the U.S. Attorney Thomas Walker. because crime statistics in High Point and these other cities had drastically dropped. Greenville did not have a good crime plan or a good strategy. We didn't have a strategy around the university area. One of the main reasons I ran for office was because of the encroachment of crime in our area. On Rotary Street in 2011, before I ran for office, we had drive-by gang shootings 2 blocks from campus. And they were so brazen that not only did they have shootings, they came back and shot again, knowing that was not a good strategy to approach it. So we said enough was enough, and we demanded new leadership in law enforcement. So we brought Chief Hassan Aiden in here with his focused deterrent strategy, and Gerald Lewis is now in here, Chief Lewis on campus, who's doing a great job. And we have an integrated force. Many of you may not know that we have a shared seamless force between East Carolina's law enforcement and also the ECU law enforcement, the city's law enforcement. If there is an incursion within this grid or the region around the halo around campus, both forces are trained to work seamlessly together. Now, you may have seen in WITN about 2 months ago, they ran the crime statistics, because one of the things with the UNRI, which is the University Neighborhood Revitalization Initiative, we focused on beginning of lighting, cutting back trees. We focused on trash. We focused on making sure you know who your neighbor was. We were the first to actually assign officers with a cell phone number, not dialing a 911, but having a cell phone number that you could call and call that officer if you needed help. The numbers have dropped dramatically around here, but my concern really is safety. And we have to continue with the blue light system. It's something I know McLean mentioned, and I know Marion mentioned it as well. But we're already working with ECU right now to how we can co-fund expanding a system you're already used to around the region, around not just on campus, but across the campus as well. And also, I want something called Project Crash Course with all your freshmen. So you don't have to relearn a lesson and not be out there at 2 a.m. as an 18 or 19-year-old in areas where you're creating the high probability of having an issue. Greenville's a bigger city. We just have to be smart in what we do if we're going to be safe on this campus. But I know I've been working closely with SGA. We've talked about this before. We're working on a strategy within the next year that we're going to work with students and make sure we create less of an opportunity. But I'm proud of the progress we've made in the area, and stats don't lie. It's factual, and it's SBI data. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to stay with the theme of public safety, but some individual questions. And the first one to Mr. Reeves. Greenville's a great college town, and we want to have a vibrant uptown, and we want to have lively nightlife. But getting students home safely at night and keeping our streets free from drunk drivers is clearly something that matters to all of us. So as mayor, how, if at all, would you improve public transportation services or use other tools at your disposal to prevent driving under the influence and to get our people home safe at night?
Glad you asked. I was coming down Allen Road the other night. There was a young student. She appeared to be. She ran off the side of the road. We stayed out there in the rain, called the cops, made sure they came. She was okay. I told her don't work. We told her, listen, main thing, you safe. Because even though you crashed your car. Now, downtown is so close to the University District, and I wouldn't have a problem as mayor on weekends, provided that the city, the city council would approve it. I would have no problem with closing out part of downtown so that students can walk, enjoy themselves, and walking back to campus. But I'm always a proponent of having, if you go out with more than one person should not drink. Should always go out with one person that doesn't drink. That's very, very important, because your lives matter. And let me tell you something. I love students, and y'all have great futures. Whether you elect me or not, my name is Ernest Reeves, ErnestReeves.com. Vote for me tomorrow. Now, I want you to vote for me, but I'd rather that you live than die. So what I want you to do is, if you go out, don't drink and drive. Take someone with you. And like I say, it's better to leave those keys and park them. Like I say, you walk downtown, and that's why I want to have the over ramps over the street so that you won't get hit coming back across the street. But as far as downtown go, they have made a lot of improvements. Downtown, there's a lot of traffic. I was down there last night, and I go by there, a lot of nights. I would like to, like I say, I think that whole area could be closed off downtown. And I do see a lot of the ECU transportation buses, but I want more. I want more buses available, free transportation rides for you all. And like I say, they have a new pub right now on Dickinson. And I think that we could be able to close off from Dickinson down by the library so that you can walk down there, because that at late at nighttime, people can make a turn there heading down by the fire department. So I'd be okay with making that proposal to the city council that certain time during the weekend that we close off those streets so that y'all don't get hit. But I'm a proponent though. Now I don't drink alcohol. You can drink alcohol, that's up to you. But what I'm saying is, if you go out, and this is a serious tip, as a former safety officer, I am safety qualified. I attended school in Hawaii. I just tell all my soldiers and everybody that I work for, if you're going to go out and drink, take someone with you that don't drink. Have a way, like I said, we'll have a number. I will have a public number for the city. So if you can't get a ride, then you can call somebody that can come. Now, I'm going to send this through the proposal of the city council, because mayors, like I say, everything have to go through the city council. And I'm very cognizant of that. But I'll tell you, you won't find a more aggressive person that loves students, that love life, that love people. I've had a lot of soldiers. I've been a private myself, a sergeant for many, many years, taking care of family members. I used to have a lot of family members. I was an adjutant at the Pentagon. I had about, over 100 some people, families, and I'd tell all of them, don't drink and drive, but if you're going to do it, make sure you take somebody with you. That's what I would do.
Thank you.
Okay. This question is for Alan Thomas. In light of recent events involving the deaths of students, what will you do to improve traffic and pedestrian safety on roads near campus and student apartment complexes?
This is something that really hits close to home, and is something that literally in the past 48 hours I've taken significant steps. And Sam Mayo is a tragedy, losing his life recently. You have to understand the dynamic of the city, and I want to read to you a letter that I penned, CC to the governor's office, and also to the North Carolina Department of Transportation, the division engineer. There are 6 major thoroughfares in this city. They're all, and this is something everyone needs to understand, there's about 600 lane miles that the city maintains and pays, and we can put sidewalks on and lights and things we want to. But the dynamic in North Carolina is this, that the city is the state actually is the overall arbiter in terms of their control. Greenville Boulevard, Memorial, Dickinson, Fire Tower, 10th Street, 7 or 8 of the major roads in our city are all completely controlled, the dynamic by the state of North Carolina. Here's a letter I sent 48 hours ago to the state of North Carolina, which were demanding immediate action. I said, Mr. Rouse, division engineer, as you may be aware, a few days ago, an East Carolina University student was struck and killed attempting to cross 10th Street near Copper Beach Apartments. There have been a number of instances in that area with high-foot traffic attempting to cross at haphazard locations and vehicles traveling at high rate of speed. As the state of North Carolina controls and maintains 10th Street in our city, I'm requesting a meeting between DOT, the governor's office, the city of Greenville, and East Carolina University officials to discuss potential solutions to remedy this danger and prevent further harm or loss of life. Per our schedule, let's set up a meeting as soon as possible to handle this issue. So it's not just about talking about what you're doing. It's about actually taking tangible steps and sit down. While I can't demand that the state of North Carolina makes a change, with your help, and this was also sent to SGA and university officials, together we're going to work, which I've done before in the state of North Carolina, because we talk about bringing things together. Even in difficult situations, if you sit down and walk through a logical process, we need to provide safer areas where we can cross in this city. On the other side, in the other regard, we have to further educate, if you're going to live in an outlying area, what is a proper procedure to be safe to be able to cross these streets? Is the speed too high in some of these areas? Things that we need to look at. So again, not sitting back and waiting for city council, I don't do that. I go ahead and reach out to put my hands on something to make a difference. If there's an opportunity to recruit a company, I drive to Charlotte or Richmond or wherever I have to go, put my hands on it to make a difference. When the crime was out of control in Uptown Greenville, I didn't wait for city council. I went and met with Ms. Joyner or the Sade family and had them start the process to sell their buildings, and now that we have the super block in other areas. If you're a mayor, it's about taking action and doing actionable things to improve your community.
Thank you very much. The next question goes to Donna Whitten. Over at least the last... Yes.
Can I add something here? Just
yeah, and me too. I would like
so 30 seconds. Please.
Okay, I just want to say...
Oh, so I get 30 seconds to get back on some topics. All right, let me pick a couple of topics I want to talk about.
We'll have a wide open
Okay,
last.
just here's an example, folks. if things had been well designed and planned in the beginning, perhaps this young person would not have died. Because the research shows that if you have 4 lanes of traffic with a median down the middle, trees and sidewalks on both sides, people travel slower.
30 seconds.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
It is a travesty for as much money as our state has in this university, in this city, that we don't have overpasses for students. And now he's the mayor, he can usurp the city council, but as trying to get to the mayorship, I'm going to follow the rules. Now, once I become mayor, I'll do other things. But I'm telling you, we need to have overpasses. Whether you vote for me or not, it's a travesty that we don't. And that young man's death, is, I just tell you, it just hurt my heart.
Last word on this.
Let's be clear. I became mayor 3 years ago. Greenville Boulevard's been a mess a long time. What we're doing now is working to try to make sure our future transportation grid can do a better job. That's why I went and worked and got funding for the Southwest Bypass, over $260 million refunded. And also I have the 10th Street Connector to be built next year. So we will have to work with the state within the system. I can promise you anything, that's not the right way to do it. You need to do it within confines and work with the system to make it happen right.
Great, thank you. Next question, Ms. Whitley. As you know, over the course of the last year, we've seen tensions across the country between local communities and the police forces that are charged with protecting those communities. How, as mayor, would you ensure that Greenville is not added to the list of American cities where those tensions have escalated?
One thing I think is very important is you make a declaration. Words are very powerful. That's how we as human beings create our reality. And you say simply that we in Greenville, North Carolina, will not tolerate such behavior. So it becomes very clear that's who we are, that we are all God's children, and we will treat each other with respect. And the police are the most important people in ensuring our safety. So therefore, we need to do some practical things, like set up and make sure that we're recruiting people who are compassionate and kind, and they're going into police work because they want to serve their community and protect people. And then we must make sure that they are given training and continuous training on being sensitive to the different people in their communities, because different people have different ways of speaking to each other. Like, for instance, my husband is from Morocco, and people like to talk very loud and get very close to each other. And you think, my Lord, they're about to fight, and they're actually discussing the weather.
Passionate discussion.
Yeah. So, you need to know. The policeman needs to be trained so that he can be sensitive to some of these things that are happening and not go into a fear-reactive mode. And so I think this is something that is very, very important and can be done. And this is something that is the responsibility of our police chief. We can give him some ideas and some policy direction, and I think we can handle this. I grew up here, and I absolutely will not tolerate the idea that we will have that kind of community. I'm a citizen, you're a citizen, and we take a stand. This is not who we are. We are all in this together.
All right, there's last questions, and then each candidate will have an opportunity to answer it. Each candidate will have 2 minutes instead of 3 minutes to answer it.
You said 2 minutes?
2 minutes.
Okay.
This question will go first to Ernest Reeves.
Okay. That's Ernest T. Reeves. It's on about. Hey, listen. If it's Ernest Reeves on the ballot or Ernest T. Reeves, you can vote for me.
As all of you are aware, there is a bond referendum on the ballot regarding infrastructure improvements. Mm-hmm. What are your plans to deal with Greenville's infrastructure?
Well, as you say, we have the bond that's already been, it's on the ballot, and that's going to, bring 10th Street out, and then it's going to do some streets, and it's going to do 5th Street, and it's going to do the Greenway. So, but we need more infrastructure than just that. So now, if the bond is approved, then it will go into motion. If the bond is not approved, that's what I want to concentrate my answer on, because our GUC has a lot of money that belongs to us. If you're a citizen of Greenville, that's our money. Now, a lot of people don't like me talking about this, but that money, I used to run balance, and I ran a lot of companies too as well. And the budget of Greenville is like $77 million. One of my aircraft, a Boeing jet or Airbus starts at $77 million, about $75 million. Had many of them. So what I'm saying is we have like $100 million in GUC. And I don't mind GUC keeping some of that money, but we need to determine how much is the right amount of money. The rest of the money we need to put over into the general fund so that we can repair our roads and streets and put these sidewalks that some of the sidewalks we need, and then maybe we can take $8 million of that and take some of the money from the crime fund that with a 7 on a scale of 1 to 100 and put the overpass so that we don't have senseless deaths of students. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying, and then not only that, we need to make sure we have lighting around our streets. Some of the streets are dark. It's just like coming up here on 5th Street. There's no reason why, and I love the school, and y'all still vote for me. I hope y'all still love me. But there should be lights all down the street for students. There's no reason why y'all should have to walk on dark streets. Not with all the money ECU has. Is that my time up?
They still got 8
okay.
seconds.
All right. Yeah. So like I said, lights everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Students should be protected and safe everywhere they go. Because as mayor, number one thing is safety of not only the citizens but of you. Everything else, your lives mean more than anything else.
Now, same question to Alan Thomas.
Okay, repeat the question again.
Sure. As all of you are aware, there is a bond referendum on the ballot regarding infrastructure improvements. What are your plans to deal with Greenville's infrastructure?
Well, when I entered office in 2011, again, we were dealing with a budget shortfall. And rather than raising taxes, which was the staff pushed, and Miriam was there, we had a significant multi-million-dollar hole in our budget. So what we did is actually reduce taxes and redirect it for economic development. I think the first thing you have to do as a city is you have to grow your tax base. You have to bring jobs and opportunity here and grow your tax base. And over the past 3 years, this city has grown to where we're now recognized recently by Forbes magazine last week as one of the top 52 growth economies in the entire United States. That is a tremendous accomplishment for this city. And we're also ranked Wild Hub as one of the 4th fastest growing cities in the country as well. What I identify when we look closely at our budget is that we've been kicking the can on infrastructure here. Stormwater, roads, so many things. So what I proposed in 2012 was the Good Roads Initiative, which is after taking a forensic audit of the city's budget, my predecessor, the previous mayor, who Ms. Whitley supports and campaigned against me in the race, had only spent $350,000 on our road infrastructure. Whereas our roads require annually about $1.5 million to keep them resurfaced. Greenville should be on a cycle of a 25-year resurfacing cycle across the whole city. We were on a 75-year cycle. You can't maintain it that way. So we injected $4 million into that to get the roads on track. And I also then proposed, working with council, this bond, which $10 million of this bond is towards catching up on our roads, which have been chronically neglected for many years. Roads and infrastructure. We're going to be 100,000 people in this city very soon, by 2020. For me to continue to do economic development, we need to have strong infrastructure. That sends the message to the business community that we're serious about the future in this community.
Please repeat the question.
Sure. As you're aware, there is a bond referendum on the ballot regarding infrastructure improvements.
Right.
What are your plans to deal with Greenville's infrastructure?
Okay. I'm glad I asked you what the question was. In looking at our past history, it seems that bonds are a good way to go with funding our infrastructure, because it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to raise taxes. That did not happen in 2004, which gave us the 10th Street connector and the 5th Street improvements, and also Thomas Foreman and the Regency Road. And it did not happen in the late 90s. So it expands the tax base, increases your taxes, and then you can pay it off. So that would be the way that I would focus on building our infrastructure. And do let me say, that the new model for the 21st century is you have to also simultaneously at the same time be building a city that is livable, that is safe and healthy, because that's how you're going to attract high quality industry. Yes, they want the infrastructure. They expect that. But when two cities there compare them, they are going to select the one who looks like they've had the good sense to put sidewalks on both sides of the street in a community, that they've had the good sense to connect those sidewalks to somewhere, not to nowhere, and that they're looking to the future of alternative transportation with bikeways and greenways, and that they are designing a plan so that your roads are safe and that they have proper crossings for people and pedestrian safety, and that they show that you care about your citizens, that you are building this city for the people. That's one of the most important things that we do.
Now we've got to move on to our last segment.
Yeah.
All right. The last segment is about the relationship between ECU and Greenville. And then we'll be going to our history. We'll have the first answer.
Can I ask you a question? Didn't you do answer a question with she and I before? Was that not you? I mean, did you moderate one of the sessions before?
Since before? Yeah. Well, I was asked questions at that session.
You did. That was at the city,
right.
At the city council. That was mean that our beloved mayor here didn't show up for a meeting in his own house, right?
Well,
I want everybody to know we had a debate.
This is my house.
No. We had a debate at the city of Greenville at his house. He chose.
You see that?
Hold on. Now, I just want to make sure. Right, I am. But I just want to make sure the answer. Okay. Now, the relationship between East.
I asked the question. The question.
You want to go to answer?
Yeah.
The question.
Let me ask the question.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
So, we're not questions here. All right. East Carolina University has plans to grow enrollments and to expand its footprint in Greenville in the coming years. What would you do as mayor to strengthen the city's relationship with ECU, and why do you believe you are in a better position than your opponents to work effectively with the university?
Well, I would like as I said previously, I would like to have some ECU students as part of my administration if elected. I think that the East Carolina employs a lot of people here, and like I say, and then of course, the state of North Carolina gets $16 billion from the federal government to also provide some educational program, roads, services, and everything like that. So I would like to work with the city. I mean, I think the city is doing a great job. We have a great community relationship. And in fact, most people that live in West Greenville and north of the river have called me, asking me, saying, why does ECU have such a great working relationship with the city and we get none? In other words, we're not getting any roads. We're not getting any infrastructure. I mean, other than, what you see. So, so the city, most of the taxpayers, because you understand, ECU don't pay taxes here. But you pay taxes if you here, going to buy things on the continent. So what I'm saying is, I would like to increase what we already have. I love East Carolina. I think it's essential. You hear, when I grew up, you have like half the people here. Pitt Community College was Pitt Technical Institute. And like I say, we have grown, and we're going to grow up to 100,000 people. Now, I used to command a city over 100,000 people in Flint, Michigan. A lot of students. Like as I said before, I had 15 colleges. And what I did to improve the relationship, I had college military day. I would like to have the city college day. I would like to, as mayor, come over here at least once a quarter and do a college hall meeting. Let you all ask me questions. If you have anything for me, have some students on my staff, rotational, so that we have different backgrounds of people serving at the city council. I'd like to have a student to come from time to time to the city council meeting so that you can put input. It'll be great for me. Y'all asked, one of the questions is, how do you get some training? That's how you get training. I would like to have an apprenticeship program where we have not only students, but also others in the community working along with the city. And I also like to have an ambassador program. You asked a while ago, what we do in different areas. I like to have, in addition to the police, have an ambassador program. I'm not talking about 5 well-to-do people in the community. I'm talking about like a student and other folks, real people, that keep it real. I'm talking about people that, they show up in jeans and tell you the truth. They're not concerned about whether or not, they're going to sit on a board. These are not people that's ambiguous. These are real people that we get to choose. That's what I like to do to improve the relationship of ECU and the city.
Tom Thomas?
Oh, okay. Repeat the question, please.
Sure. East Carolina University has plans to grow enrollments and to expand its footprint in Greenville in the coming years. What would you do as mayor to strengthen the city's relationship with ECU? And why do you believe you're in a better position than your opponents to work effectively with the university?
Well, since 2004, I've either been on a consulting role, hired by the university to help recruit funding in the state of North Carolina, or have served on a various board and commission ever since that period with East Carolina, with the Alumni Board and also with the Board of Visitors. And the first thing I did when I was elected mayor in 2011 was sit down with Dr. Ballard, a guy who I've known for a decade his entire time here. And the thing he said to me that we both mutually said that enough is enough, that our boarded up uptown area and this Dickinson corridor, areas that at time has forgotten for decades, that it was time to turn the page. That if the center of your city doesn't look vibrant and like it has life and a future, that your entire community doesn't look like it has life or a future. So here's what we did. We had a part-time organization called Uptown that Denise Walsh ran. She was a part-time employee that only the city paid a paltry salary, and Denise decided to move on to the Outer Banks. I saw that as an opportunity, being a first-time mayor 2 months in, and I went and met with Dr. Rick Nicewander and Jim Hickey with Vidant, and we all made a pact. I got them to come in, and I told them the value that if we can get this our downtown area and what we could do, that we could create exponential value across our community. So we came on board with Dr. Nicewander and Brian Floyd and Mr. Hickey. They all matched our investment in this uptown area. And what that did is allow us to hire Bianca Schoeneman. And this was before Free Boot Fridays. This was before the uptown umbrella markets. This was before all the things we've become accustomed to. It's hard to believe in 3 years how much that area has changed. How many new restaurants, how many new apartments. It was before the parking deck. It was before so many restaurants I could name the long list that decided to come here, that investment. So we made a commitment, and that has now allowed us to go into bringing the Millennial Campus. We're the only other university besides NC State that has a Centennial Campus. Greenville has the only designation, creates this seamless environment between the private and public sector, which is going to create a $1 billion footprint over the next decade that's going to change the entire dynamic of this city. That's what I'm doing and going to continue to do as a mayor, my experience in economic development, my close work with the university, and my willingness to roll my sleeves up and go get things done. This is not a ceremonial role, and it's time to continue moving Greenville forward.
East Carolina is a wonderful example of an economic development, an economic engine, and a quality of life institution. As I said, I was born and raised here, and it's contributed a great deal to my cultural and educational life and my family's. And I don't mean being just as a student, but as being a citizen who can attend lectures and musical concerts. So it's very, very important that we have a good relationship with them. I think, how do you meet on a monthly basis with people from ECU?
More than that.
More than that, okay. I would think that that would be one of the best and most important things that you could do, is to set up a system that you are monthly or even weekly, but I would just say monthly, staying in touch with ECU and working on projects and moving forward, because we both have a vested interest, the City of Greenville and ECU, of working together. When I was talking with Mr. Kane the other day, he was pointing out that one of the greatest assets that Greenville has is East Carolina, this educational component. East Carolina, Pitt Community College, and Vidant, and the medical school. And this is something we should develop close relationships, because this is going to be a real powerful economic magnet to attract high-quality industry to Greenville. So I'm very much in favor of a continued and even greater communication between them.
Great, thank you. So our last question of the evening before your closing statements, and this is a question that will go to each of you. I want to ask you to speak a little bit more directly and a little bit more personally to the students in the room. I want to say how much we appreciate the fact that you're here and supporting the Student Government Association. But as we wrap up, get a little bit more personal. What is your underlying philosophy of leadership? And if you could use that philosophy of leadership to challenge the young people in this room tonight to do one thing, what would that one thing be? We'll start with Mr. Reed.
I love leadership. As I mentioned before, I went in the military as a private, and then I got promoted to sergeant. And when you get promoted to sergeant, you have a lot more people, and you do a lot more cleaning up of bathrooms and other things like that. You get to serve over around the world, doing your mission, making sure that family members and soldiers are taken care of, and wherever they assign you to. Whether it's my very first assignment was Korea. So when I got there, I just turned 17-year-old. I went in the military. I just turned 18 when I got there. And some sergeant took me aside and said, I know you're about 10,000 miles plus away from home. I know you're scared because you're going to hear a lot of sirens going off. And, you may not go back home safe. But we're here for a mission. We're here to take care of people. And, and so me, that's what I've always done, take care of people. And so, I love students. As I said, I'm the 12th child. I got about 20 plus nieces and nephews. I talk to them on a consistent basis. I love young people. I would say to you all, and this is my personal view, do something that's out of the box. Don't let anyone confine you to a box. If you want to be an artist, be an artist. If you want to, do whatever makes you happy. Now, of course, you got to talk to your parents about that because because obviously you're in school. But I'm saying though, don't let anyone define you. Because see, some of you all here, one of you all here might be the President of the United States. One of you all here might be a major music maker. One of you all here may develop, the antidote for cancer. One of you all here might be a major movie producer. One of you all here may start your own university. We may have, a couple of billionaires in the same room. I believe in you. I mean, I ran for the United States Senate last year. They told me not to. I finished 7th in the state. When I told them, when I was in the military, I was going back to college. They told me not to. I applied for a military scholarship, won a national scholarship. Could go to any school in the nation I wanted to. Finished in the top 7% of my class, top 10% of my military class. I would never thought a young man like me had a very bad speech impediment growing up. My daddy could put an X on a piece of paper, sign his name. He would work for a United States Senator. I would work at the White House. I would retire from the Pentagon. I would have the best clearances in the world, could go anywhere, work for a multi-billion-dollar company, a Fortune 500 company, have $100 million aircraft, and be sitting here today running for mayor of my hometown, which I love deeply. I love the people. I love you all. I do anything for you all. If I'm elected, if I'm not, I can still help you. Give me a call. My name is Ernest Reeves. Vote for me starting tomorrow.
Thank you. Mr. Thomas, your philosophy of leadership and how you would challenge the students in this room tonight.
Well, I want to, first of all, thank you guys for putting together this forum. And to be honest, it may be the best one we've had. I like the depth of your questions, and I'm not just kissing up. I'm just saying. More? But what would you expect from East Carolina, right? No, I'm seriously. This is a very important forum, and there's a reason that the East Carolinian is covering this closely. There's a reason that the Daily Reflector and other media are covering this closely. There's a reason you're all here. I was right there where you were not that long ago. I had the fortune that the SGA Leaders Retreat, which was held several months ago, I was asked to come in as mayor and actually talk on this exact topic. And what we talked about was, we talked a little bit about my really interesting experience this summer. I got a call out of the blue around May saying that, Mr. Thomas, you've been identified as someone with an opportunity. We want to invite you to come and attend Harvard this summer. the JFK School of Government. And I said, I can't afford that. And they said, well, we had the opportunity to provide you a scholarship, the Kahn Foundation. And again, we sat with some really interesting people and learning about leadership. And the key thing that we talked about leadership is not a title. Leadership is getting up every day and being consistent with a dream. It's something you want to accomplish. And when you stick with that and communicate it well, you can accomplish pretty much anything. And when you're working in a group dynamic, the leader is not always the loudest person or the person who makes the biggest promises. They're often the person that are consistent. They have good ideas. They listen. And then they act. It's extremely important. Don't be limited by others' perceptions of you. Race, creed, color, or what they think you're about. Test your boundaries. If there's things that you're interested in, it's something we talked about in the SGA retreat. Come up with innovative and unique ideas. Not the usual things that you think everybody wants to hear, but things that sometimes test the boundaries of where you may have previously felt comfortable. And for me, it's about doing those things and also surrounding yourself by people that bring different perspectives. If you're around the same people that look like you and sound like you and have the same things, it really limits your scope of opportunity and expansion in your personal life and what you may be able to do. And always seek out those that you consider leaders. A leader might just be a deacon in a church. It might be a law enforcement officer that, people have high respect for. Do what I did. I went and just volunteered and made copies just to be around people that were getting things done. Be around good people. You will learn good things and you will bring good opportunity and you will be the better for it.
Thank you. Ms. Whitley, your philosophy of leadership and how you would challenge the students that you see.
Okay. One of the most important things to remember is that ordinary people accomplish extraordinary things when they are committed. And if you get up each morning and you are committed to a vision that you're going to make this world a better place, it will happen because you will attract other people who want to do that. And don't we all want to make a difference at the end of our lives, that we've made this world a better place to live? When I was in high school, I was the first female president elected at J.H. Rose in the history of the city. And not knowing any better, I picked up the phone and called and spoke with Dr. Leo Jenkins, who was the chancellor here, and asked him to come and speak to our student government. And he did. And it was a life-transforming moment. And I want to share that with you. He was a gentleman who said, you know what? East Carolina's going to have a medical school. And let me tell you, everybody, lots and lots of people said, you must be crazy. That is not going to happen. Did that let him bother him? No, sirree. He kept his vision and he kept drawing people and convincing people. But he came to our student government. He said, I want you to be divinely discontented. And what do I mean by that? He said, I want you, when you see something that's not right, that you go to it and you figure out how to fix it and make it right and make it good for all the people. He was very much into what's the common good. But I don't want to hear you just complaining and not doing anything. So it's okay to be divinely discontent, but you got to put some action behind it. And so that is my view of leadership. You have a vision, and then you bring people together and you articulate how we're going to get this done. And it will happen. I promise you, you can accomplish great things if you're committed to it. And hey, what kind of legacy do you want to leave to your children and your grandchildren? How do you want to be remembered? And I know that we all want to be remembered that we made a difference in this planet.
Thank you.
Okay, it's now time for closing statements. We will draw for who has the first closing statement. Something around here. All right, our first one will be going to Alan Thomas. Each person has 3 minutes for their closing statement.
Okay. Again, I want to thank you all for having us here, and we have had a great journey. This is our last debate, I guess, right? And it's been a great conversation about Greenville, North Carolina, where this community has fit in the past, where it's going to fit in the future, and who's going to be a part of that. You know, not long ago, I was a student here. Do you know not a single student, not a single member of City Council grew up in Greenville? That tells you the diversity of this community. We're a community that's rapidly growing. It's the hub of the East. So you may very well be on this stage at some point in the near future. And nothing would make me happier. But it's a special time and an important time in this community. You know, there are 3 good perspectives being offered here. Ernest T. Reeves, is a great gentleman I've gotten to know here in the past month. And I'm really appreciative of his passion. Don't tear up. Donna Whitley, and I pick on Donna because, you know, I met Donna really for the first time when she campaigned against me when I ran for mayor the first time in 2011. And I didn't see Donna for a little while, a couple of years. And then she showed up again in 2013 and campaigned against me, Mr. Best. And now she's here. Now I didn't see her for 2 years, but she's back again. So I think consistency is important in this community. And as the sitting mayor, I have to be able to justify. We all have a resume here, and it's not just about talk, about what people promise. I want you to go to all 3 of our websites and distinguish between substance and talk. And we joked before about, you know, if you're going to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk. You know, when I ran for mayor, it wasn't for a ceremonial role to bang a gavel twice a month. It was for making material and real change in this community. That's why the first month in, as we mentioned earlier, I took the entire police command staff and we went to Raleigh because it was time for a change. And we ended up raising the bar in law enforcement and bringing in Chief Aiden and now Chief Holtzman. And partnering. That's why we came in for the first time and partnered with East Carolina and VITA and launched this dynamic uptown organization. That's why we launched 6 economic development zones across the entire city. That's why we created the first Office of Economic Development in this community, which has created over $450 million of growth. That's why we took the downtown area, which was devastated and much of it was boarded up. And I personally met with many of these families and worked with them, and the council did as well, and together. And you can see the progress now within 2 to 3 years, how much that's changed. I'm more excited about the future. I'm more excited about the opportunity to be engaged with this new millennial campus opportunity and taking my background dealing with Raleigh. And we have threats coming out of Raleigh. If you're going to be mayor, you can't take progress for granted. You need a capable and proven and experienced mayor. I hope I've shown that to you over the past couple of years. Let's keep it going. Vote for me on November 3rd. Thank you.
I am running for mayor because, as I said, I was born and raised here, and I've seen some dramatic change. And what I have learned through research and the evidence of traveling and looking at other cities is that economic development and quality of life go hand in hand. They're like 2 sides of a coin. They cannot be separated. Joe Riley is the mayor of Charleston, and I just read an article in which he said the most important thing that a mayor and council can do is to create a livable city, a city where people want to live and work and play. And that's why I am running, to let the people of Greenville choose between a mayor who's going to emphasize quality of life. And that's going to be safe streets, well-designed streets where traffic flows, neighborhoods that are free from crime, sidewalks that connect residential areas to commercial areas. We don't want someone to say, I live in a jeweled cage and I can't get out of here. These are important things. I want you to remember, too, that the model of 4 lanes of traffic, a median down the middle with trees, sidewalks in each side, and mixed with neighborhoods, churches, schools, and commercial areas is one of the finest things that we can do, mixed media, to attract high quality of industry to Greenville. And that is going to give us a wide spectrum of salaried positions that will be good for all of us. So do remember, in the end, we want jobs, of course we do. And we want a healthy city, a safe city, a livable city. Vote for Donna Whitley.
First of all, I'd like to thank you all for coming out here. It's been wonderful being on the debate stage with you, sir. And Mr. Whitley, I like you all, not as good as me.
Like it. I'm going to take that line.
But I would just like to say thank you all. You know, I really enjoyed this. If you elect me mayor, my name is Ernest T. Reeves. I will do my best to be the best mayor for all you all. I love students. You know, I've had an opportunity in my lifetime to, like I say, I applied for a scholarship, went to school on a scholarship. I recruited for St. Augustine's College in Raleigh, North Carolina for almost 5 months after I graduated. I used to go and give all these speeches and tell the parents, look, this is how you get money. I opened my statement by telling you all left $2.9 billion on the table because you didn't fill out the free application for federal student money. So I know a lot of you all, all you all in here look very good, but I would say fill them out in a way. In Tennessee, they give free education for community college, but they require everybody to fill them out no matter how rich you are. Now, we have about 800,000 college students, I think, in this state, so you couldn't do that right now. But free money on the table, $94 million of the $2.9 billion was right here in North Carolina. Now, tonight, I like math. I love math, actually. So I put in 27,000 students, about $94 million, and I came up with about somewhere between $3,300 and $3,400 a piece. That's a lot of money for a free education. Now, I myself, when 11 September happened, 11 September, I accepted an assignment just a few days before the bombing. My office, my parent office that I ended up with lost the most people, lost a lot of people, around 30-some people. So when I got there, and with the loss, I could smell the smell of the bombing inside of the Pentagon. In fact, I was the very first one they asked to speak at the new chapel. They put it back brick by brick. I also was selected to be the master of ceremony for the biggest organization day in the National Capital Region. I was also selected to be the face of the Army for What Makes America Great in 2003. It's a film. You can go and pull it up. It's a film that's worldwide. It covers what makes America great is where we come together to help each other. I was also selected and handpicked to be the personal military liaison for Ambassador Bremer. At the time, he was the most powerful ambassador in the history of the United States. I was also selected to do special duty. I was the guy that picked him up when he flew here, take him home, pick him up, take him to see the secretaries of the Army and Defense and at the White House. And I had to pinch myself when I was there. Because you standing inside the White House and all these, from the president on down, you get to see those guys. And I'm saying, I'm from Greenville. My daddy was a grass cutter, and I'm sitting up here in the White House. So, like I said before, I ran for the United States Senate last year. I'm here running for mayor. If you elect me, I make one promise to you. I have an open door policy, and I'm for you. You, the students. You're the most important commodity that we have in this city because you're a student. And I look forward to you doing great things in life. Vote Ernest T. Reeves tomorrow and on November 3rd. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all for coming and joining us and sharing your platform. This concludes our SGA-sponsored City Council debate. And if you need to get your passport stamped, we have people at the doors in the back that can take care of that for you. And before we leave, can we ask to take a picture with all of the candidates?
Of course, it's my best
Members
side.
of student government, citizens.
Every side.
Who takes a picture?
Thank you, guys.
Who takes
so much. Miss Marion Blackburn.
We're going to do it right here on the stage.
You will have that problem next year.
This wheeling chair scared me. I thought I was
Roll off. You're right. They were very thoughtful questions.
I would make the best set of questions we can. I love that.
Thank you, guys.
something like this.
I want to be beside you. There you go. I'm in the middle of all these mayoral.
You guys get in here. McLean laughed. Come on.
Dr. Downs will get you. I want to be beside Jenny because she's going to make me look good. You look good. I want all the pretty girls around me. I want you to make me look good. Dr. Johnson here too.
Yeah.
I'm over there right now.
Are you in the Worthington Plot? That's great. That's great.
Cheese
Whiz.
All right.
Oh wait, we're supposed to be formal.
No, go
sorry.
ahead. Do your thing, man. Do your thing.
All right, should we do the ARG? Oh, I started doing it. ARG. Okay, wait, we're supposed to go purple, gold. No, we're not.
I'd go ahead and say, I don't go.
Double ARG. Double ARG. ARG.
Well, you got to get across.
Peace out. Do your reading.
What is that?
Everybody look at these. Carolyn. Skull and crossbones. ARG. Everybody look at Seth.
How are we doing?
Seth.
All right, Seth.
ARG. Super ARG. Double ARG.
You didn't have a memory card?
Thank you.
Well, that case.
Well, I'm done. I'm out of here. Yeah, right? Appreciate you guys. Thanks for your time.